What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel. Before we get into this next video, I'd like to make a special announcement. In April 2025, I will be launching a new Patreon. That's right. We can do things over there that we can't do on them folks' platform. So if you've been a supporter here, you've been a subscriber here, you rocked out with me here, I expect to see you over yonder at the Storefront Church. We opening up in April. We're gonna have a whole lot going on there that we can't do here. For example, we'll be able to chat directly over there in our private chat rooms on Patreon. We can talk about things that we couldn't talk about here on them folks' platform. We can have private conversations. We can have public conversations. I want to be more available to the people who really rock out with me. To that end, not only will I put exclusive videos over there that won't be available on YouTube, but we'll also have exclusive live streams, y'all. That's right. I'm gonna go live more often in the Patreon. So if you've rocked out with me here, if you felt what I've been doing here, if you're picking up what I'm putting down over here on them folks' platform, well, it's gonna be greater over there. So I hope you rock with me. As the old folks say, we can go another further over there. So don't meet me there, beat me there. I'll leave a link in the description. Y'all go sign up. Ain't no charge for nothing right now. I'm just collecting information and emails and getting everything set up for April 2025. Y'all meet me on Patreon. And now let's get to the video.
Just the recipients, but also the farmers that are there able to purchase from. That's the main reason it's a DO, a Department of Agriculture.
This issue is not going to go away because it's very contentious. But when you cut in any organization, government or private, it's very demoralizing. It's traumatic and it gets lots of bad press, as we're doing right now. But that's why you cut 20% more. I think Elon's not cutting enough. Cut 20% more now. Get your spreadsheet out. These are the names. Whack everybody, and then 20% more, as we do in the private sector every day and have done for 100 years in private equity, and hire back when the organization gels. That way, the demoralization only happens once. You don't want to cut multiple times. More whacking.
But let me just, can I explain to you that this is when running.
You don't need to explain it to me. I know how it works.
But no, you don't, because
actually I do. I've done it multiple times.
But yeah, that's in the private sector, and you cannot run.
This is worse than the private sector.
You cannot run everyday government the same way you run the
fat dripping with waste government.
I'm not talking about fat dripping with waste government.
What do we have?
I told you in the South right now in red states? Do you know the number one cause?
What does this have to do with red or blue?
Can I finish my question? Do you know the number one cause for children underperforming in schools right now?
Bad educators.
No, hungry. As a
no. Let me finish.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
Let me finish.
I actually, my whole career was in education.
That's my point of bringing that up to you. Yeah. And so, yes, you had things like the free and reduced lunch program. You had the summer lunch program. Yes. You had programs that were expanded so kids could actually. So I'm not arguing with you about your expertise in the private sector, but what I am saying is that a 20% cut or whack, you're cutting from Allendale Fairfax High School and Birmingham High School.
Okay.
You're cutting from places that really matter.
You want to talk about high schools in America? That's what I did for 14 years.
I also was a high school teacher.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, what you just saw there in that opening clip was a black man making a fool of himself. That's right, Bakari Sellers on the Crying Negro Network, CNN. He ain't crying this time, but I bet he wanted to cry in the car. Because Kevin O'Leary handed him his tail on a silver platter with knowledge and information and logic. This man is saying that the number one reason that kids can't learn in school is because they're hungry. And it is the government's job to feed them. Well, I disagree, because I remember back when the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, say the whole name, one of their most popular, if not the most popular programs was the food program, feeding kids before school. They understood that what Bakari is talking about was a good thing. Kids need to go to school on a full stomach so that they are not struggling to concentrate. However, they also understood that it was not the government's responsibility to feed the kids. They took it upon themselves. The community had purpose. The community filled the void. They didn't wait for the government. They didn't depend on the government. They did it themselves. So why are we here in 2025 with the blackity blacks on the Crying Negro Network saying that it's the government's job to feed the kids or else the kids can't learn. Listen, Mr. Sellers, Abby Phillip, anybody here on this CNN panel? I need you to understand and get this, get it good in your mental. Kids are not learning because teachers are not teaching. These pink and purple and blue haired teachers that you put in these classrooms that want to hang colorful banners. They want to teach kids to be transformers, even though they can't spell the word transformer. This is your problem. People with agendas have infiltrated our public school system, especially in my state of California, y'all. You ain't gonna convince me otherwise. Where you got Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom has recently started a podcast and he is trying to back away from some of the policy positions that he has held in the past. He supports this kind of foolishness that has been detrimental to our children in American society, in California's society. Y'all, Kevin O'Leary is right. Gut the Department of Education. You ain't gutting it enough. They said they canceled and fired 50% of the workforce. That ain't enough. I need you to cancel 50% of the 50% that's left. And then when you're done with that, cancel 50% of that until it's all gone. Donald Trump said he wants that department gone. And I heard him in an interview recently where he acknowledged the problem. He knows that even if you gut the Department of Education, he said in his own words, you're going to have 40 states that excel, that rise to the occasion. With federal support and federal dollars, they still won't get the money. But you got school choice. But you still got another 10 states, maybe even up to 14 states that are going to fail as they always have. My state is one of them, unfortunately, because it is a sanctuary state. Not just a sanctuary city, y'all, it's a sanctuary state. They're going to push their agenda with that Democrat supermajority in the legislature. They're going to push it. Unless the feds step in and really wreck shop and blow up this whole thing, they're going to push it. They're going to transform your children. If they can't do it physically, they're going to do it mentally to where your kids come home and they don't recognize anything you taught them. Anything they learned in Sunday school, they don't recognize any of that. They've been transformed by their mind. And they're saying, hey, mom is wrong, dad is wrong. I feel a certain way now because I spend more time with my teacher than I spend with my parent. Spend more time with my teacher than I spend with my siblings. And they have been able to lure me to the side, push me into a corner, and pressure me to change my mind. Well, these are the children that grow up to be these domestic terrorists, that grow up to do things like shooting up and blowing up Tesla dealerships. Y'all, that's what we're dealing with today because we have a domestic terrorism problem in this country to where someone from InfoWars, a reporter at that network, at that program, was recently unalived on his home doorstep, according to reports, on his personal property. Someone targeted him. Another reporter for that same network was just swatted. Alex Jones came out on the X platform and said he's being targeted. He also said the Trump family is being targeted. Y'all, there's a war going on, and I suggest you level up. Let me put it that way on Them Folks platform. I suggest you get ready for what is to come. If you are going to stand for righteousness, at some point you are going to have to defend righteousness. Are you ready for it? Are you up for it? I suggest you stay prayerful. If you haven't been praying, if you haven't been in touch with the Almighty spiritually, I suggest you rebuild that connection, reconnect with the Almighty, because there's a spiritual war going on and there's a physical war going on. And you got here on the Crying Negro Network folks who are trying to defend people who are out here engaging in domestic terrorism. If you blow up somebody's car, that's terrorism. If you spray paint somebody's car, that is terrorism. If you assault someone, that is terrorism. If you let off shots at someone or their home, their domicile, that is terrorism, domestic terrorism. And I'm so glad that Donald Trump came out right there on the White House grounds in front of his new Tesla and he said, hey, we're going to prosecute all y'all. You think this is a game? We are going to drop all the weight of the government on your lap and deal with you as a domestic terrorist. I gotta say, y'all, I concur, I agree 100%. Mr. President, let him have it.
But then you also overnight have this post claiming that protests at Tesla dealerships are illegal. He said today he would label violence against dealerships domestic terrorism. Now, you know I am judicious in how I play this sound, but I think you need to hear it from him.
Mr. President talks about some of the violence that's been going on around the country at dealerships. Some say they should be labeled domestic terrorists.
I will do that. I'll do it. I'm going to stop them. We catch anybody doing it because they're harming a great American company. Let me tell you, you do it to Tesla and you do it to any company, we're going to catch you and you're going to go through hell.
So just to be clear, you protest a private company, you are labeled by this administration a domestic terrorist.
Or attacking Teslas or dealerships, going beyond vandalism, that could be an act of domestic terrorism. But I do want to ask about this as resistance. Is this what resistance should look like?
So Trump thinks that if you try to kill cops to overthrow the government and change an election, that's not domestic terrorism, but somehow having a protest in front of a Tesla dealership is. The bottom line with Trump is freedom and liberties belong to people who agree with him, and that's it. That's his view of America. That's not a view that people who believe in our Constitution share.
Congressman,
what can Democrats do if these trade wars go off the rails and stay in place, creating a recession?
So, Sarah, what I saw yesterday was that President Trump really only cares about Tesla's stock price. He turned the White House into a car show trying to help put a floor under the plummeting stock value.
Does it look bad at a time when Americans are struggling?
Right.
To have the president hawking cars for the richest guy in the world because his political
does it look bad for the president to support an American company that employs thousands of American workers?
No,
yes. I don't think it looks bad.
No, he's supporting Elon Musk.
Who do you think builds the cars, brother?
Elon Musk builds the cars?
No, the workers of the United States of America, where they build the. I mean, they're
what
building
I'm telling
cars.
you right now is the way I look.
He's not the only person that works there.
I look at the president doing a favor for another one of his rich homeboys.
So you don't like this company because you don't like Elon Musk that he supported Trump. I know, but you're mad that he's supporting the company.
Let's
because you don't like
perhaps
the
White House can bring Ford next week.
Fine.
And then Chevy, because when
they're routinely at the White House. And in fact, during the Biden administration, they were at the White House, and he excluded Elon Musk.
Yeah, and that's why. That's why.
Mr. President,
This sucker's quick.
how's it drive? How does it feel? Would you buy one of these?
I would.
How does it feel to be behind the wheel, sir?
It feels great. I tell you what, this electric vehicle. Now, I don't know if it has a stopwatch, but I think if we're going 0 to 60 in about 4.3. 4.4? Right. 4 flat?
Well, we haven't released it.
I should be quiet.
Mr. President, how fast were you going?
Okay, I'm just going to step on it. I'll come off at 80 miles an hour. You'll see what it is, okay?
President talks about some of the violence that's been going on around the country at dealerships. Some say they should be labeled domestic terrorists.
I will do that. I'll do it. I'm going to stop them. We catch anybody doing it because they're harming a great American company. When you do that, those people are going to go through a big problem when we catch them.
Is he wrong? Are they not vandalizing a great American company? Is Tesla not a great American company?
I didn't say he was. I didn't say he was wrong.
So
No,
Elon is put himself under. He's like an ant under a microscope. He's doing something that's been so needed for so long. He's just simply saying, "Look at what I found here. Look at what I found here. Look at the waste. Look at the fraud. Look at and you can't execute.
I think the thing about that clip,
you don't have to do anything about it. But he's pointing it out. This guy.
Well, first of all, we should say this.
He's a hero.
He's a
friggin' hero.
So we should say this. Yeah. the animus that surrounds Elon Musk doesn't just have to do with Tesla. It has to do with some of the things that Elon Musk does on social media, some of the ways Twitter is being run. Like the eroding of Elon Musk's reputation has to do with a lot of things.
It's his reputation. He's doing it, and he's a hero.
The point of that clip,
He's not let me just tell you, let me explain.
Hold on,
Let me give you one
that clip, Kevin and Van, was also that Trump seemed to agree that there should be domestic terror charges for people who were.
Why are they singling out Teslas? I mean, why? Because Elon Musk supports Donald Trump. These people are chasing Tesla owners. They might chase you someday.
So you agree on the domestic terror?
Purchased in 2019.
I don't know. Look, Elon Musk currently holds a position of trust in our government. He is a top advisor to the President of the United States. And there's clearly a bunch of people out there who are targeting him and his products specifically. If that's not terrorism, I'm not sure what is. They are terrorizing people who bought an Elon Musk
something
product.
I think I should say. My son works for Elon in Fremont. He goes through a gauntlet of protesters every day to do his job. It's outrageous.
That's America. I think that's okay.
It's not
No. Let me clarify. I do not think when you disagree with somebody's political views that violence or destruction of property is the way to go. I'll say that. I've said that before on issues that I agree with, on issues I disagree with. There's a different way. But when you decide to go into the public forefront, to work in government, you do expose yourself to, we have a First Amendment for the reason. You go through it, people protest. I don't think that people should not be able to protest because you think Elon Musk is a hero and your son works there. I think that if you don't agree with him,
I just want to disclose it. Proud of that he's finding the waste, the dripping fat.
I don't think that's what he's doing now.
Corruption of government.
I don't think that's what's
But you admit there's a difference between protesting
Elon Musk,
and the more violent
the
acts.
territory.
Yes,
and I mean, I think that's the point that Ashley is making, is that he takes this job, and it's not just, as Van pointed out, it's not just Doge. Elon Musk is a target because he's pushed, frankly, the great replacement theory on social media, which people consider to be a white supremacist theory. He's done a lot of controversial things.
There's been Nazism on his...
Look,
a
he's
lot
a
of controversial
guy.
things.
He takes
so
the
it's
heat
not
every day.
just the Doge.
Why don't we form a committee tonight saying Doge plus 20%? Join me in saying we're not whacking enough.
Don't put me
Let's
in that.
whack more. Come on.
Okay,
we're saving your money. It's your taxpayer money. Whack
what I would say this is, every time you whack something, you look at it, you come from the private sector, right? You look at it as whack, saving money, CEO, all kinds. I think of the American lives.
I'm saving jobs.
I think of hungry kids. I think of people that aren't getting essential services. I think of the people that I grew up with in Baton Rouge who need a social safety net because of years and years of
really
welfare.
think Elon's running around saying, let's starve children? That's not what he's doing.
It doesn't matter if he's trying to do it.
He's doing it.
It matters if it happens.
He's finding waste in government.
But this passionate speech is why no one ever cuts the government. I mean, everybody says they want to do it until somebody tries, and then we get all the speeches and all that. No one will ever do it.
It's not, there are other places you could start to cut the government. You could start at the defense, but we're not. We're starting at
Is that the only thing you want to cut?
No,
you said that last night.
No, I said, like,
hasn't passed an audit. I mean, these other places have been audited by Inspector General.
Start at the
Isn't it incredible, y'all, that lefties would support criminal activity as long as it is directed towards the right, as long as it's directed towards Donald J. Trump, as long as it's directed towards Elon Musk? These folks who advocated for so many years, since Tesla came on the market, they advocated for electronic vehicles. Like this was the new way. In my state, they're trying to eliminate gas vehicles. They're passing laws that you must drive an EV at a certain point in the future. Well, at this point, y'all, they trying to say, this is where we are. But we've changed our minds because we don't like Elon Musk anymore. The best EV on the market. Don't argue with me. Argue with the government. The best EV on the market. And I know it because I see them all throughout my neighborhood. It's a status symbol. Y'all loved Elon Musk until he connected with Donald Trump. And now you're saying because Donald Trump has been reelected, he's not running again because he's termed out. Well, we need a new villain. So Orange Man Bad has become Elon Bad. And you're going to take it out on his companies? Well, you can't do nothing with SpaceX. You can't do nothing with Starlink, so let's take it out on Tesla. Okay. That's just ignorant. IGNANT, ignorant. But we understand where you are. We understand where you're coming from. And when you got your operatives and your apparatchiks who will get on platforms like CNN and advocate for your stupidity, well, then we know how to deal with you. And I'm glad that Donald Trump has taken a firm stance and said, I'm going to deal with you with the hard hammer of the American government, the DOJ, the FBI. Anything that he can unleash on your head, he gonna put the governmental foot on your neck and keep you held down because you are a threat to America as a domestic terrorist. Let me read to you the terrorist definition that I came across on Google. Terrorist says, a person who uses unlawful violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. Well, that's what you want, right? You want me to change my political aims, right? You want me to vote different. You want me to support a different political angle, right? You want to enforce your political beliefs on people like me. Well, Google says that's terrorism. Not only that, but the Constitution says that's terrorism. And I hope that Donald Trump deals with you accordingly for your foolishness. And there you have it, y'all. They can banter back and forth on the Crying Negro Network. It don't matter to me. It's not going to change my opinion. It's not going to change my mind. No matter what domestic terrorists might unleash upon this country. And listen, this is just my prediction. I believe that there is more to come. There is worse to come. And anybody in my circle, I am advising to get ready, get prepared. Because even as they peel off that yellow text on Black Lives Matter Plaza, even as they remove the markings that domestic terrorists found so endearing, they'll find another way. They'll find another avenue. And if we have to depend on these rhinos in the Republican Party, well, God bless America. God have mercy on everybody, because as a registered independent, I don't believe that Republicanism is the way either. I'm putting my money on those of us in the middle who can look at the fringes on the right and look at the fringes on the left and saying, I ain't either one of them. I'm out here for my family. I'm out here for my country. And most of all, I'm out here for my God and my faith. And I'm going to stand on that. If the flag represents it, then, hey, I'm going to stand under the flag. But if the flag ever ceases to represent it, then I might stand under something else. Y'all let me know what you think about this and these domestic terrorist liberals who are taking to networks like CNN and trying to promote their agendas, trying to promote their message, trying to stifle the Make America Great Again movement. Nah, we ain't having it. We ain't falling for it. You've lost. Deal with it at least for 4 years. In my opinion, I think it's going to be 12 years, but that's neither here nor there. We'll deal with that in another video. Y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments. I'd love to know your thoughts. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time. Peace.